Caledonian McBrain and the Big Light present
Falcha, I'm Coinneach Macleod, the Hebridean Baker. Originally from the Isle of Lewis, I'm an author, TV presenter and travel blogger.
And I'm Natalie Galloway, a singer-songwriter from Fife.
We spend most of our time travelling the world, seeking out amazing places and meeting the people who live there. Together, we're the perfect guides to the very best things to do, see, eat and enjoy on your next adventure to the incredible islands off the west coast of Scotland.
Welcome to Scottish Island Adventures. Today we're talking about the island of Cumbrae, also known as Great Cumbrae. Scotland's most accessible island, only an 8-minute ferry journey from Largs. The town has been inhabited since the end of the last ice age, but became especially popular during the 20th century thanks to the Clyde paddle steamers. The main settlement on Cumbrae is the beautiful Victorian seaside town of Millport.
Coming up, I had my very first go at golf on one of the most spectacular courses in Scotland. And Nadia and I have a very special guest in the studio. But first, I took an unusual route across to the island with Tom and Duncan from the Studies Council. They have a centre in Cumbrae that welcomes groups of all ages to learn about and explore Cumbrae's unique and spectacular wildlife. It's been a trip down from Glasgow to Ayrshire and we've just arrived at Largs Marina. For most people heading over to Cumbrae, they'll be taking the Calmac ferry over to Millport. But we're taking a more special journey over with the Millport research vessel. Falcha,
Yep.
Tom, Coinneach, how are you?
All right, Tom.
Good to see you.
Welcome on board.
Here's Duncan.
Hi.
Duncan.
Hiya.
Coinneach, how
Nice to
are
meet
you?
you.
Thanks
Nice to
so
meet you. How
much.
you doing?
Can we come on board?
Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
You go.
Tell us a little bit about the boat I'm on today.
Well, the boat mainly supports the teaching that goes on at the Field Studies Council now. So there's been a marine station on Cumbrae since 1897. Universities from all over Europe come and carry out their field work using the Field Studies Council at Millport as a base.
What's so unique about this part of the west coast of Scotland that brings so many folk over to do the research?
Particularly Millport, and Cumbrae, there's a lot of habitats, lots of different habitats in very close proximity, so they're all nearby, so you can get out onto some muddy ground, slightly harder ground, gravel, there's rocky bits, there's on the shore, there's sandy shores, rocky shores.
Well, shall we get the life jackets on and head out in the water?
Let's go.
Okay.
Right, team.
I'll take the kettle first.
Okay, that's us just left Largs Marina. We've just come out onto the Fairlie Channel. Dead ahead is Isle of Cumbrae.
Now, once we get over to Millport, Duncan, you know the island of Cumbrae very well. So, why do you think it attracts so many visitors over to the island?
Obviously, I'm a bit biased about Millport, but I think the natural beauty of the island, because it is literally 8 minutes from Largs on the ferry. It's Scotland's most accessible island. You can go from one end to the other and it's totally changed. When you get into the town of Millport, it's obviously a bustling little community. But go another mile north of that and you're into the peace and quiet of the countryside. It's absolutely magnificent. The beauty of it is it's flat, so it attracts the cyclists 10 miles round. And I think that's one of the beauties of the thing. It's so easy accessible.
Now, the research vessel itself is obviously mostly for students, universities that are coming over, but you've also got a centre over on the island, is that correct?
Yeah, the centre's obviously been there since the 1890s. It's expanded probably in the last 10 years since the Field Studies Council took over. It's expanded now. We can sleep up to 157 overnight, all with ensuite accommodation. We have about, I think it's 7 or 8 classrooms to accommodate them all. We've also got an aquarium, which we stock from the research vessel. So we've got a daily, it's open daily to the public, so they can go in and see the marine life. And students can come up and stay anything up to 2 weeks at a time. They come and visit us. And so since the Field Studies Council have taken over, they've brought a lot more of primary school and secondary school kids to the centre, which in turn we've then changed into doing various other things like rock climbing, archery, snorkelling, orienteering, and whatever else takes their fancy. So it's a busy old centre.
Now I can see some binoculars here beside us. So do you mind if we have a wee look and see if we can find anything in the waters?
If you look at the surface of the sea, you'll see a disturbance in the top of the water, which is the tide line basically. You normally find that's where the most activity is, in the tide lines. So you'll find the birds will feed in there, and obviously porpoise, dolphins, seals.
The ferry's always good for if you're up on the upper deck of the ferry, because you get a good view down into the water. When we're fairly low down here, so when you're looking at the water, all you see is the reflection from the surface. The big white jellyfish, rhizostoma, they can get up to a metre across. You can see those from the ferry because you can see down into the water rather than looking across it. Ones to watch out for are the cyanea, or the like scolders, which are the big lion's mane jellyfish with the big long trailing tentacles. And they're maybe ones to avoid if you see them in the water.
Well, Duncan, while you get us into shore, I'm going to have a look outside and see if I can spot anything with the binoculars.
Okay then. Cheers.
So I've got my sea legs off the boat here on Cumbrae, and senior tutor Amy is here. Hi Amy, good to see you.
Hi, you too.
So Amy, you're going to take me around and show me what you've got.
So, this building here, this is the Robertson building. So it's named after David Robertson, who is known as the Cumbrae naturalist. So he's a marine biologist, and he was the first person really to come here and study the marine environment, and he started off in a little boat on a sort of barge called the Ark, and I think I can show you a picture of that inside. So it was literally like a barge that you get on the canal, and he created it into like a floating laboratory, and he had all these samples in there, and by all accounts after a few years it was horrible in there. It was really damp, it was very like cramped, and not a very nice environment. So he basically fundraised for this building to get built. So this was the first building that was built here. One of our sort of key selling points here is that we are a marine biological station. So the building that you're stood in front of just here, this was built in 1901 as a marine biological research station. So I always say to the kids, all the Victorian men with the big long beards and the ladies with the long dresses came here because they wanted to learn about the marine environment. So that over there, so they'd be going out collecting samples. Back in the Victorian times, we didn't know loads of stuff, so there was like a whole wealth of information for them to gain. So since it was built, people have been coming here to study marine biology non-stop basically from 1901 up to here. So we teach everyone about marine biology basically is what we do here. So in here, this is the Sheena Marshall Library.
Amy, you've taken us on a wee walk down to the shoreline. I think it's been about 40 years since I've done rock pulling. So we're right on the shoreline here. What kind of things can people look out for when they're down the shorelines and rock pulling?
So, I mean, the first most obvious thing that you can see is the seaweed. I mean, everyone thinks of seaweed as like smelly, slippery, gross stuff, but it is amazing. Seaweed is a really good thing to forage. Lots of seaweed is edible, and there's lots of different types, and without the seaweed you wouldn't really have anything else living here. So the best place to look when you're looking for creatures is underneath the seaweed or within the seaweed. That's where everything's trying to hide, and trying to stay in the dark, trying to stay wet, trying to stay safe from seagulls or other predators that might be around. So looking in the seaweed is a really good place to start. I don't know if you can hear the like popping sound?
Yeah.
Of the seaweed as it's like drying out. So that's the sound of all the water sort of coming out of the seaweed, because the tide's just started to recede now. So the seaweed's all sort of starting to dry out, trying to retain all its moisture.
Amy, I've loved my visit here and it's really inspired me. I think you're going to see me in one of these courses in the future, but thanks so much. It is amazing the impact the wee island of Cumbrae is having on studying the waters, not just what it means to Scotland, but learnings from across the UK and Europe as well.
I hope you come back here and do a bit of rock pulling yourselves.
We will, for sure. For more information on this and all the island destinations, go to calmac.co.uk.
I miss rock pulling. I've not done it in years, and that, do you know what? It's really inspired me to get back down to the shore.
Absolutely. I completely loved it. It was so much fun.
So we're delighted to be joined in the studio today by actor and comedian Gavin Mitchell, who you might know better as Bobby the Barman in the long-running TV show Still Game.
If you've not watched it, you really must. It's a real slice of Scottish life.
Now, Gavin is a huge fan of Cumbrae and is the voice of the island's tourist information films. Gavin, welcome to the show.
Hiya. It's
right.
smashing to be here. I'm no bad. Talking about your rock pools. Smashing.
Now, what started...
Cumbrae's full of them.
I'm not going to get through this, am I? What started your love affair with the wee Isle of Cumbrae?
Well, it all started, first time I ever went there, I was at school. We won a competition. And it was to raise money for an ambulance, actually. And our class raised the most money. And the prize was to go to Millport for the day.
Aww.
So we all went to Millport and it was just, it was amazing. It was really exciting. We came from Coatbridge to Millport, which was like going abroad, as we went down to the Clyde Riviera, went over on the ferry. And then we did the classic stuff like cycling around the island. And that's when Fintry Bay Cafe originally was just this tiny wee green shack with a jukebox in it and stuff. And then we went to Mapes of Millport, which is still there to this day, which is a toy shop and also a bike rental company. But it was famous because I remember in those days, if you looked in the window, they had all these toys that had all kind of faded in the window with the sunshine, but they were toys from America and stuff. It was really like unusual, obscure things. So it was, and the only place you could buy them was Millport, strangely. So it just always stayed with us. And then I went back years later, and now I go back really regularly, but it's kind of like it's remained a sort of wee Brigadoon, really. You get in the bus from the ferry, and as you turn the corner, Millport appears, and it's never really changed. That's the beauty of it. It's that lovely sense of community mixed with kind of real pride, and it remains like that. So they keep this lovely balance between it being exactly the same as it always was, but still changing. But they're very careful about how much they change it. So it remains the same. So it's this real magical place. It's just like slipping back into a big brown, comfy slipper. So hi.
That sounds magical, especially that shop with like the old faded sort of creepy sounding dolls.
Well,
that
it doesn't
like
look like that now. It's me that's old and faded and creepy. The actual shop looks a lot better now. They've put some money into it.
Well, you've given me a massive list of things, but like, see if it was a punter, a visitor, what places do you reckon they make a beeline for if they're going to visit?
Oh gosh, it depends what you want, really. I mean, my favourite place when I used to stay down there is Kames Bay, which is just as you entered Millport and the bus, which is just a lovely, lovely bay with a beautiful view over to Arden, which, just the landscape changes all the time. You can see the snowy peaks and it's gorgeous down there. And watching the tide come in and out, and that's my favourite kind of spot to take my dog and run about there. And they've just spent millions as well, just building this whole new kind of system to stop the sort of floods coming in as well, which should just reopen. So that's quite spectacular. I love it down there, but then if you want to go crazy and go to the Las Vegas side of Millport, you kind of want to go right down the front to the other end to where the Twa Dugs is and the George Hotel and the amusements, and hey, let your hair down, have a wee shot in the Penny Falls, go into the Ritz Cafe, get an ice cream, get some sprinkles on it, go mad.
Oh, you
Put some money in the jukebox, get Johnny Cash on, you know what I mean? Kick back, let your hair down.
Treat yourself, have a lemonade, go on.
Have two, if you're feeling extra thirsty. It's great for walks and stuff, like Farland Point stuff like that. Great walk with my dog. With it, there's loads of really lovely sort of peaceful places. You can go right up to top of the island to the Gladstone, which you've just 360-degree view right over to Rothsay and all that. So it's magical, you know. You can have as much peace as you want or as much kind of fun as you want, you know. That's what's beautiful about it, and so accessible, you know, an 8-minute journey. Did you know the other fantastic thing about Millport is a place called The Wedge, which is the narrowest house in the world?
Yeah, Gavin, it says here it's only 47 inches wide.
Well, yeah. Also, a fascinating fact about Millport is its cathedral, the Cathedral of the Isles, which is the smallest cathedral in the whole of Britain, possibly Europe. Actually, although I'd fact check that. but yeah, it's the smallest cathedral in Britain. It's absolutely extraordinary. And it was also because of that I think it was 2011, something like that, that they applied for Millport to be a city. Could you imagine it? Millport, the city, coming soon. So yeah, but thankfully it's just stayed as a wee town. And hopefully it'll have its town hall back soon as well, which I hope to play and raise even more money for Millport and their Christmas lights and fun and frolics.
Gavin, what about food and drink on the island? What pubs do you think Bobby would be frequenting?
Well, I hate to favour anybody or I'll get my head in my hands when I go back over. But my own personal favourite is I love the Newton Bar, which is fab, which I do believe has a picture of myself in there, actually. Oh, yes, amongst others. But it's a great bar. It's a good family bar. And they do lots of brilliant community events. They do everything from fashion shows, they'll have music nights, they'll have discos, they'll have all sorts of things in there, bingo, and they'll raise a lot of money and put it straight back into community. So that's really good. And they do good food, drink, good laugh, and a lot of good regulars hanging about there. So me and the Doug hang about there quite a lot.
Well, Gavin, you mentioned music, and I know you're a huge music fan. You even, if I got this right, you even accepted David Bowie's posthumous induction into the Glasgow Barrowlands Hall of Fame.
I did indeed. Wow. Yeah. And then since then, yeah, it kind of opened up all sorts of things. I've sang with his band and all sorts of things, done backing vocals. With Mike Garson, his pianist and all sorts. So yeah, I did everything. Sadly, it's kind of bittersweet because none of it would have happened if he hadn't passed away. But yeah, it was a huge honour.
And if you're on the island, what's the music scene like?
You know, it depends really. I suppose the main thing about the island that it's really famous for is its country and western scene, because once a year they have their massive country and western festival, where they'll change a lot of the shop fronts and people dress up. And Mapes of Millport, which is the biggest kind of toy shop and bike shop, they'll sell cowboy hats and stuff. So everybody walks about and dress, and they put on this massive festival. And at the Garrison, they have a huge marquee. Then it goes on, I think it's all weekend. They have all sorts of events going on. But that's the other great thing about Millport. I mean, they have events all year round. They have scooter rallies. They have the services events that was on just the other week there, where it's the fire brigade, ambulance service, everybody. And then they've got their fantastic September weekend events as well, which is a massive party and brilliant firework display that they use Little Cumbrae, which is just across from them, which can be explored as well, but that's where they set the fireworks off from and things. So there's masses, but music especially, I am a big fan of the Ritz Cafe, just because it is so retro. And when you go in there, that jukebox is incredible. Mm-hmm. You know, that is true. You can actually go in and hear Johnny Cash. So it's fab. So you can sit down there with your wee plastic dish from the 60s and have a wee ice cream and a flake and listen to Johnny Cash, and it's like timeless.
This sounds class. I believe you went beyond Millport on your trip to Cumbrae. Did you know, Coinneach?
You know, Natty, you're right on par there. As a novice golfer, this is my first time stepping onto a green, and I couldn't have chosen a better place to start my journey. Millport Golf Club. And what a day. There's lots going on, the ladies' tie-am, and I can't wait to get on the green. Just walked up the hill to the Shuckens, the first hole on this 18-hole course in Millport. And I'm here with Rudy McIntyre, the club captain. Great to see you, Rudy.
Hi, good morning, and welcome to Millport Golf Club.
Now, each hole does have quite a unique name.
Well, as we're standing here on the first, this is the Shuckens, and as I'm just looking over my shoulder here, the original first tee was up on that mound up there and played down over the practice fairway. So that was probably why the first is called Shuckens. And then the second is Mount Stewart, which is over to the Marquis of Bute over in Bute. The third, if we go out there, you'll see it, it's called the Whale's Back because it's a very obvious feature which just looks like a whale's back. And then maybe if we fast forward on to the 12th, which is an interesting hole, which is the furthest point of the course, it's called the Dew's Nest, and it just looks like a little sort of pigeon's nest. And that hole was designed by James Braid, who was the famous golf course designer back in the day. He played an exhibition match here in the 20s. He recommended that our original second hole, which was a blind shot, he said that wasn't good, so we took his advice and took that hole out of play and built a new hole out of the 12th where you can see where you're going.
I would love to, for my first time, get on the green.
And the first hole is the one which is the easiest, so maybe it sets you off with a false sense of security.
Right,
but yes, definitely.
Maybe. So shall we give that a try?
Absolutely, let's go for it.
So you've got a few balls made there.
Yeah. So we're going to go for that little gap.
Okay.
So always keep your eye on the ball.
Always keep an eye on the ball. Okay, this is my first time, okay?
Here we
so
go.
No pressure.
No pressure at all.
I think I got that. Went far there.
That was
it didn't at all. It's important to warm up the shoulders.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. The shoulders are warmer now.
Yeah.
Right then. So let's give it a try.
There we go. Nice and straight.
Well,
Maybe there.
I'm feeling confident about this one. Okay.
Nice and easy tempo. There we go.
I think that crow over there got a wee bit of a surprise.
But that was brilliant.
What a location. So tell me a little bit about the course.
Yes, so Millport, it's a bit of everything. So it's a bit of a links course. So we've got the seaside age sand dune types of holes, and we've also got the parkland sort of inland type of holes as well. Millport Golf Club was founded back in 1888.
And it's been here ever since.
Yes, we've been running ever since, so we're in our 136th year and still going strong.
Really, when I'm visiting the US and telling people I'm from Scotland, one of the first things they always say is, do you play golf? Why do you think Scotland is such the home of golf?
I think it's a sport for everyone, and I think maybe that's something which might get lost in other countries where it's more seen as a bit of an elitist sport, but certainly in Scotland and definitely at Millport Golf Club, we welcome everybody. As you say, we're a family club, not just in the committee and the captains, but we've got a thriving junior section as well. As you see today, we've got a strong ladies section. It brings everyone together.
Now, obviously, you'll have a lot of members who are local to the island, but I'm sure you have a lot of people who just want to come and visit the island, maybe play for the day. Are they able to do that?
Yes, absolutely. As I say, we are one of the few clubs which welcome visitors at the weekends, because we appreciate we are on an island and it's a little bit more difficult to get down to us.
You mentioned that there's some amazing scenic spots
Yes.
as well along the course. So would you be up for taking for a wee spin and to see a couple of those?
Definitely. Let's get a buggy and go and have a look.
Great.
So these are all Millport members, ladies here.
Would give you a lift, but looks like you're enjoying the walk.
Oh, it's great, isn't it? I mean, when you see the views up there, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, day like today, you can't beat it.
Brilliant,
Yeah.
hey. What a place. The birds are singing, the sun is shining. Sandra's just hit a 2 with a shot.
Today you're in the ladies' Triumph, is that right?
Correct, yes. It's the Ladies Millport Golf Club Ladies Triumph.
And so you're competing as a trio. So
Yes.
you're not competing against each other, are you?
No, we are a team,
Uh-huh.
and each team has 3 players, and it's a best net score, and we're 18 holes. It's a lovely day.
Matching navy. Ahoy.
Navy, you're looking good. And you've been part of this club for many years. What do you love? What do you love about Millport Golf
Club. Oh, well, when I was working up at home, the first thing I wanted to do on a Friday night was come down here and hit a few balls, and if I had a frustrating day I would call them all by different names and I hit them out, and then I would come out. You could just feel the serenity coming into you on a Friday night. It was just lovely, and that's what I really enjoy. Plus I've been here all my life, so I know everybody. Wouldn't be without it.
And you get obviously lots of locals here, but you get a lot of visitors come in to play as well. What do you think attracts so many of the visitors to come and play?
I think we're so close to Glasgow. You know, it only takes, in a car it only takes you 3/4 of an hour to get down to Largs. I think that's what's so handy for them. It's only an hour, and so many people have been down here and cycled around the island and done all the different things and played in the competitions here that they keep coming back. If they've been once, they want to come back, so that's good. Right. Are we gone, girls? No, they're still there. This is a par 3 for the gents, but it's a par 4 for us, the ladies.
Okay.
Wish us luck.
Good luck.
Here's my ball. Yay! On the fairway.
Well, ladies, good luck with the rest of the tournament.
Thank you.
Really, we've just arrived at Westward Hole, the 15th hole, and I think this is the one for the views, isn't it? Stunning.
Yeah, this is our sort of signature hole. This is the view that everybody looks forward to, no matter how rubbish your round is. Once you get off that 14th green and turn around and look at this view, everything seems to be a little bit better in life.
So what are we seeing from here?
So just to our sort of 1 o'clock there is Kilcatton Bay, and that's Butte, and then behind it is Arran, and just sort of keeking underneath the clouds there is Goat Fell, and then behind Arran that's over to Kintyre. And I'm not quite sure you can see them today, but sometimes on a really clear day you can see all the way over to the Paps of Jura right out in the distance.
What a view for the people on the course.
So you can see in the distance there, that's the Rothsay ferries, the 2 Calmac boats going up and down. And there was a story about a guy, I remember, was playing a match against a visitor, and the visitor said on that 7th tee, "What's the line?" And he said, "That's the ferry." He took his shot and then hit his ball into the rough. "I thought you told me it was the ferry." "Aye, but it moves."
Well, really, I didn't get the hole-in-one today, but I've loved my day here on the course. Thanks so much. You've got a fantastic golf course here.
No, well, thank you for coming. I'm just glad that the weather held up so you could see it in its best light.
Fantastic. Thanks again, really.
Perfect.
For more information on this and all the island destinations, go to calmac.co.uk.
The things we do for this podcast. Are you much of a golfer, Gavin?
No, what's that quote? I think, why spoil a good walk? It's one of the few things I've never done in Millport. However, I have played crazy golf down at the front where they've got their big giant swings down there across from Mapes and Millport, and until I just get frustrated and throw my club at a seagull or something and into the water.
I sympathise with that.
So yeah, it's frustrating. That's about as far as my golf goes, I'm afraid.
But speaking of being active on the island, Gavin, I associate Cumbrae with cycling. You know, the moment
Absolutely.
you get off the ferry in Millport, there are lots of bicar places in Millport. It's kind of the perfect island to cycle around, isn't it?
It's beautiful because it's pretty flat.
There's
not that many hills, and the choice of bikes you can get there now is phenomenal. And if you're stuck, you can get a wee electric bike nowadays, or a wee scooter, or giant bikes or tandems and all sorts. But it's a perfect island. You can just take your time, and it's only about 10, almost 11 miles.
Yeah, I think it's just about
all
10
the way
miles.
round.
Yeah.
You can get a wee certificate if you go round as well. So I've cycled Millport. I took my dog round because you can get wee carriages for dogs. So I think it was last year I took him, and it was, I can't remember the time of year, but it was actually roasting hot. I was not a pretty sight. It was just me in a vest with a dog in a carriage behind me, and he loved it. You know, he was just kind of panting away, kind of waving to people like he was royalty in his wee carriage as we went round the island, and had to stop quite a few times, all kind of red-faced and stuff. But lovely spots you can stop at, like Fintry Bay, and then of course that's one of the highlights, because as you go round you can stop at the cafe and reward yourself. And so yeah, it's a lovely, nice wee pace. It's nothing too strenuous. Everybody can do it, you know, children, and you can even cycle with your dog in your back.
In a vest.
In a vest. Me, no the dog.
Sun cream all the way up to here.
Absolutely.
I don't know why, but whenever I think of like the bikes with the carts, I immediately think of Wallace and Gromit.
It was that day, actually.
Talking about eating cheese with your dog in a bike.
Nice piece of cheese, please, Gromit. So, yeah.
Well, I cycled out with Nae Helston's like my kind of bike ride, because I'm like 20% legs. So when I'm cycling, it's not really good. I just end up getting off, taking the huff and pushing it up a hill. But thank you for coming in. It's been smashing to meet you, getting to know you, and getting to know Cumbria as well. So we've got a list of things to do now. As you can see, I've got my list there.
Thanks,
and I can't wait to go.
Great to meet you.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome.
Well, that's all from us this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, like, rate and review, and share with your friends.
For show notes and more information on this and all our other island destinations, plus full details on Caledonian Macbrain's routes, timetables, prices and bookings, go to calmac.co.uk.
Every journey starts a story, so book your Caledonian Macbrain Island adventure now.
This podcast is brought to you by The Big Light. The presenters were Coinneach Macleod and Natalie Galloway. The producer was Flora Zychek, with mixing and original music by Brian McAlpine. The assistant producer was Michael Park.
From the Big Light Studio